1961. Dwight D. Eisenhower is leaving office 3 days before JFK is inaugurated, and he gives this farewell address where he warns about what might be going on with the United States. This was the guy who created the term military-industrial complex. If you've ever used that phrase, it's because of him. Let's take a listen to President Eisenhower's outgoing words to the United States.
A vital element in keeping the peace is our military establishment. Our arms must be mighty, ready for instant action, so that no potential aggressor may be tempted to risk his own destruction. Our military organization today bears little relation to that known of any of my predecessors in peacetime, or indeed by the fighting men of World War II or Korea. Until the latest of our world conflicts, the United States had no armaments industry. American makers of plowshares could, with time and as required, make swords as well. But we can no longer risk emergency improvisation of national defense. We have been compelled to create a permanent armaments industry of vast proportions. Added to this, 3.5 million men and women are directly engaged in the defense establishment. We annually spend on military security alone more than the net income of all United States corporations. Now, this conjunction of an immense military establishment and a large arms industry is new in the American experience. The total influence, economic, political, even spiritual, is felt in every city, every state house, every office of the federal government. We recognize the imperative need for this development, yet we must not fail to comprehend its grave implications. Our toil, resources, and livelihood are all involved. So is the very structure of our society. In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or democratic processes. We should take nothing for granted. Only an alert and knowledgeable citizenry can compel the proper meshing of the huge industrial and military machinery of defense with our peaceful methods and goals, so that security and liberty may prosper together.
He was 100% right.
You know what's amazing is like that could be AI generated and no one would be able to tell the difference because that, when you look at that, it could be fake entirely.
Of course. Yeah. It's mind-boggling, but think about that. He was at, like, you know, like the people that are warning us about AI, like now they've been like for a while, they're like, hey, dude, watch, it's going to get bad. The warning is like, we're not stupid, but you know what? Because it's easier for us. Like, dude, ChatGPT, but everything's so instant. Nobody, I don't think, cares about what's coming, and it's coming. These freaking robots. Have you seen the ones where now they're fighting and sometimes they fall? Wait till it gets advanced to where they're in your homes and then they're our military. But I think he saw something, and I mean, he's not lying, bro. These people that are the military-industrial complex, they make their money from war. If your job, if your company is bombs and missiles and bullets and this, and there's no war, you're shit out of luck. That's like having a hospital with no sick people. Hospitals need sick people to fill the beds. You know what I mean?
With perishable medicines, and then what you end up having is what we've been doing in Ukraine, which is everyone says, well, we're giving them old, expired, or, you know, antiquated weapons, and that's great. So you deplete your antiquated, expired medicines. You say, well, now we need new medicines,
yes.
And then you end up going back to the same MIC to manufacture them.
Incentives. Everything works with incentives. This guy saw it coming. All right. If your only tool is a hammer, you see every problem as a nail. All right. So you have millions and billions right now. Well, it wasn't that bad back then, but now you have trillions of dollars of armaments, planes, warships, munitions, missiles standing there just waiting to be dropped.
Yep.
Just waiting to be dropped. Most of this weapon manufacturing goes on in smaller states. middle of America states where they have all their facilities, I wouldn't say they convince politicians to vote the right way. Like I think it's Nikki Haley that she went in and out of Boeing. Was it?
Yeah,
Yep.
Boeing, and then I believe there's also some interest they
husband-
have in Raytheon
So-
as well.
Yeah.
Raytheon,
And her husband owns is part of-
Martin, like all of these guys. They go. It's a revolving door. They go in and out of government, in and out of the military-industrial complex, and that's the way it goes. Am I against it? I don't know. Like money needs to go around. But that's a sad reality. That's what it is.
No,
you know?
and if you look at what happened immediately after Eisenhower left office, we got Kennedy. We got involved in Vietnam, and Kennedy wanted to keep it limited and then wind it down. But then suddenly, Kennedy gets popped in the head under suspicious circumstances, and Johnson, whose wife is on the board of directors of a defense contractor, if I'm remembering correctly, immediately,
allegedly, just in case.
allegedly, immediately escalates in Vietnam, and we're
Put
off to
on
the races.
Vibrate, dude. Just put on.
No, that's the suspense music. You just
No,
said
that's
something.
my pet alarm. I can't even turn it off, even if it's it's
Oh, I
silent.
mean, it's Pat's messaging.
Yeah.
Okay, got you.
Yeah.
Go ahead. That's
But-
I thought that was the CIA.
Yeah, and if you look at what's been going on since then, it's nonstop, one conflict after another, where every time we're in there for longer and longer and longer until eventually it culminates in 9/11. And we've basically been in permanent war somewhere in the world since 2001.
I mean,
Or
even before. I mean, you had Iraq War I, Iraq War II. I don't know what happened in between, and that came off the heels of
Kuwait and all that stuff.
Yeah,
But he makes a really good. You make a really good a point that made me think of something else. So JFK came in and went. They started the war. I mean, it was in the making with the military-industrial complex, and then him saying, "I want to stop this war." They killed him. 9/11 was the instrument to get us to go into war, to literally take over the Middle East. And what a you have to give credit where credit's due. What a brilliant tactic. And we're gonna get into all the details and all the blatantly false information and the lies. And let's not forget what Goebbels said, which was Hitler's #1 propaganda guy. Goebbels. He said, if you tell a lie big enough and keep repeating it, people will eventually come to believe it. Okay? So 9/11.
There was a broader context to that. It's like you tell a lie so egregious that no reasonable person would think that someone would make a lie so outrageous.
Exactly.
And then they say and then they have to come to believe it because no reasonable person would repeat such an egregiously, demonstrably false lie over and over.
Yeah, and if you, and mind you, with these, and again, I know we talked about this in the past, Connor. Once you realize, my thing is this, and the contract I signed for the military, the Constitution, protect the Constitution and defend the nation of enemies, foreign and domestic. What people, I think, fail to understand is the domestic part is in there for a reason. And these people, I think, serve a different master. When I say evil, when I'm talking about evil, I'm talking about the Bible. I'm talking about Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12, for we don't wrestle with flesh and blood. It's something deeper. And once you realize, like for instance, Dave, if me and you were going to fight in the UFC in a month, right? Or a month, 2 months, however long they take. And I'm about to fight you. I have to figure out, okay, does he grapple? Is he a boxer? Is he jiu-jitsu? Is he martial arts? Is he Brazilian? I have to figure all that out to know that when I'm fighting. People don't understand. You have to know what you're up against to even fathom what we're talking about. Because when you talk about something like this, people are going to go, you mean to tell me that the government shot the president in the head? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. You think the government or Bush and Cheney and Rumsfeld, they knew that 9/11? Yes, that's what we're saying. Because there's no other way you could explain to me, and we're going to get into it, how all these things, all these moments, all the shit that come together, and then the aftermath. Who benefited? Who got the money? And you're going to sit there and try to... It bothers me that they think that we're that stupid, but the cover-up is brilliant. And it's a certain amount of people that know that if anybody says anything, you'll die. So shut your freaking mouth. And if there's leaks, they die. Go ahead.
Well, I'm not saying that I believe it, but when some people say it might have been a let it happen on purpose type event, 9/11, and then someone says, you think the government would kill or allow to be killed 3,000 of its own citizens? It's like when you have Madeleine Albright saying 250,000 dead Iraqis was worth regime change.
That's crazy.
I mean, what is the value of life when you're talking? It's like, okay, fine. Oh, but they would only do that to foreign countries. They would never do that to their own. Well, if 250,000 dead Iraqis was worth regime change, maybe sacrificing or allowing the sacrifice of 3,000 of your own citizens would be worth regime change in Iraq. Once you're talking in that realm.
Thank you.
It's similar thing to recent conflict where you suggest like a recent massacre, not a they did it to themselves, but some stand down orders or some let it happen on purpose. Oh, they would never let that happen. When you're talking in the context of governments that literally just in real time experimented on 1 billion people. Oh, they would never do that, but they would do something else that's equally horrible, just slightly less violent on its face.
And you nailed it, because those people serve a different master, David, where sacrifice is in their playbook. These Satanist, demonic, that's for Jake, people, dude, sacrifice is cool. And really, like, I hope people wrap your head around this. If they're like, hey, listen, we're going to lose. Hey, guys, hey, important guys at this table, 3,000 Americans are going to die. Okay, and there's how many hundreds of millions of, how many Americans were during 9/11? Couple billion? No, I'm sorry, couple hundred million?
Let's say 350
Let's say
million.
350
A third of a
million.
billion.
We're going to lose 3,000 people, but guess what? I'm going to promise you guys. War, money, billionaire. You're going to be a billionaire. All of you, you know how many billionaires happened after 9/11 in Washington? There's a statistic of how many millionaires just sprouted out of nowhere, okay? It's absolute horseshit to brush off people as conspiracy theorists when all the facts that we're going to go through, it's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that 10 separate things happened where nobody could give me an answer. Give me an answer. Show me the proof. And anybody, when it comes to physics and shit, like with the building and in physics, they could prove that an elephant could stand on a pin. Like, they could figure it out with it's horse shit. It's all science-based bullshit that all these people that are paid to come and talk for them so that the plan can be, so nobody questions and everybody forgets about it. If you keep going, bro, for a couple of years, people get mad, then they forget, then it's over. It's over.
I don't know if you do in polls anymore, but it'd be interesting in the chat. If anybody watching this probably knows what Operation Northwoods is, and I know we're getting there.
Get there.
But anybody who says, no, there's no way the government would do that, doesn't know that the government had already literally planned it and was one signature away from implementing it. And then once you understand that, you cannot call anybody a conspiracy theorist for suggesting they might have done in the future what they literally were one signature away from doing in the past.
So if you like this clip, click right here. And if you want to see more like it, click right here. Stay angry, Patriots.